Hi guys, welcome back to another GGF video review. Today we're checking out the ROCCAT RYOS MK Pro keyboard. This is ROCCAT's top of the line keyboard. It features the full German engineered cherry switches. The one I've got is cherry black, so this is the more quieter version of the cherry switches. This video, first half part of the video, I cover the keyboard. We look at the lighting modes. Now this keyboard is known for the crazy amount of lighting modes it has. It does have a 32-bit core processor in it, so it's very intelligent with what it can do. It can do like equalizers, it can do scrolling from left to right, it can do like a Knight Rider theme. So if you're into a keyboard that has a heap of lighting effects, then you can pretty much control the lighting on any key. This is definitely a keyboard to look into. Second part of the video, I'm going to go into the software. Not many people cover software when they're reviewing keyboards. I think that's just as important as the keyboard itself. And ROCCAT have done a really good job with the software. There's a lot you can do towards macros and configuring the lighting. So I covered a fair bit of that just to show you guys how well, or sort of how well they've gone into the effort on creating that software. So before I spend any more time on going over this, we'll jump in and we'll see what's in the box and we'll talk a bit more about the keyboard. Alright, so I've already unboxed the keyboard. So what you get the keyboard itself, of course. You do get this nifty little cover. I don't know if people use these, but I do like these when they come with this. For a few reasons. You're going to make sure the keyboard is going to be scratch-free during transport and packaging, and it's also handy that if you go to gaming events or you move your PC around a bit, you can just throw this back on and then you can throw this in your gaming bag or your backpack and it will sort of protect it from other devices. You could even throw a rubber band around it and it's not going to fall off at all. So I do like it how they come with that. And what else you get is you get a quick installation guide. It's probably recommended that you do go through this if you're a beginner, or because this keyboard has a heap of features. This is mainly to get you started with how to use macro live recording. I'm not going to go into the live recording feature. I will be covering the software more, so it's probably best to do this via the installed software, but you can do the live recording if, say, you're on a new system and you don't have the software installed. And then apart from that, it just sort of tells you everything else. It shows you warranty, which is good, how to locate the serial number, that's handy, and then it sort of tells you what some of the specs are, but you probably already know. If you bought this keyboard, you probably don't need to know what some of the main features are, because you probably would have researched that beforehand. A quick look at the box. I don't like to spend too long on the boxes, but they have done a really nice job on covering everything on the box. So some of the standout features on this keyboard is, of course, the illumination. Now, ROCCAT have gone to a huge amount of time and effort to bring you probably the most advanced lighting mode you can get on a keyboard to date. There's things like rain effect, rainbow, what's the other one, Knight Rider. There's so many different modes. I'll go through those later on with the software installed, and you can also use the power grid. I did a previous video on that. I'll probably just link that below on how to set up power grid, and this keyboard will interact with that, and that gives you more lighting effects as well. So just some of the other main features. It has these thumb start buttons. I don't know how many people use these. I don't use them too much, but the good thing is they're not the same as the switch themselves. So that's your standard cherry switch. These are sort of a more sort of hard switch. So like people have been saying, oh, you're going to get that knocked with your thumb, but I can have my thumb resting on that and I'm pressing that quite hard, and that's actually not clicking yet until you press like that. Then it clicks. So it's not like you're resting your fingers on. People are like, oh, I couldn't have a button under my thumb. It actually doesn't affect it at all. I've had a few keyboards that are doing that now, and it's good that they don't make it a real easy switch. All right, moving across, we have per key illumination. Not many keyboards you buy these days give you per key. So as you can see by the image, you got the T, the H lit, the G is not lit, so you can light whatever key you want. It's got 6 brightness levels. I'll go into that. It's got anti-ghosting capability. It also has N key rollover, so you can hit as many keys as you want. That's pretty much a standard on high-end keyboards these days. 100 Hz polling rate, that's pretty much standard. ROCCAT Easy Shift, we'll go into that a little bit later on, and it's got the ROCCAT Torque, which will also work with the power grid, so it gives you those extra features. Moving on to the keyboard itself, we do have just some physical sort of appearance of it. It isn't sort of your traditional square keyboard, you can definitely see there. Another thing, it does have a built-in palm rest, so as you can see, you cannot take it off. It's built in. I've been using this for quite a while now. I've started to do with all my videos, I test the keyboard or whatever I'm reviewing for at least a few weeks. So I have been testing this for a lot, and it is really comfy. I'm starting to like these keyboards that come with the built-in palm rest and are sort of sloped up. As you can see, it's got the angle that's sort of, let's get that. So it's not just your standard square frame one. It does have the slight angle on it. So what you do get also, you get your audio, your microphone, headphone, 3.5 mil, and they're only just pass through, so it doesn't have a sound card. It's just purely a pass through to the plugs there, which plug into your PC. And then on the other side, it has two USB 2, so they're only USB 2 only ports, and that's just simply a pass through there, which goes into a spare USB port, and then you've got the standard USB that drives the keyboard. And this lead is a really nice braided, really thick cable, and it comes with a nice sort of cable wrap there that has the logo on there. So that's really nice braiding, and that's 1.8 meters long, so you've got plenty of length. You can see how long that is there. I've had no issues making this reach to any of the systems I've run it on. Moving on to the back, it does have these little grooves. I'm not sure what they're for, because you definitely cannot route. This is not a keyboard where you're going to be able to route the cable, so you can't even think about doing that. And it's got your standard feet, only one level of height. It's not the one that have the dual function ones. And you can see how much rubber they've got on them. A huge amount of rubber, so all of that is rubber. And then you've also got, which I like, is, so well, it does have two levels. It's got your stock level, and then you raised up level 1. And then you've got these really nice rubber pads. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got a really long one that runs along the bottom. So if you've got it down flat normally, like that, there is no way that is moving. And then when I put it up a bit for its second level, it's not even moving at all. Okay, so the keyboard that I got is the Cherry MX Black. So it does come in all your standard red, black, brown, and blue, as you can see there. My favorite is blue, but I can't, I'm not going to sort of mark down or anything purely because of the cherry switch color. So I was sent with the black. I don't mind black, but blue is ultimately my favorite. I'm not going to go into all the cherry switches. It's got nothing to do with the brand or the keyboard. It's just the switch they use. So yeah, they're just pretty much, if you after more information on the cherry switches, just head to Google and just hit up some forums, and they can tell you all about the different switch types on those. So another feature, as I said, with the lighting modes with this, it does have a dual 32-bit ARM Cortex processor. So that's pretty crazy to have in a keyboard, and you'll see later on why that is needed. I'm assuming it's needed, as to that's probably why they have it. Probably because all the funky lighting modes it can do. I really want to try and show you everything it can do, because it can do a heap of things. Like I'm going to say that this keyboard is expensive. It's over the $200 mark. It's not going to be for everyone. I guess if you're a gamer, you're always heading to gaming events, it's probably not going to be for you. Now this keyboard is long. It's not the smallest keyboard. It's not the biggest. It only has a few macro, but looking at that, it's about 500 and about 520 millimeters. So a bit over half a meter. It is a long keyboard. Something else I liked on this keyboard, which is quite good, is it's got a designed to be fingerprint free. Now you do get some light fingerprints, but they do go away. So it's got a smudge proof sort of protective layer, or the grid design on it. So you can see if I'm pressing down quite hard for quite a while, you actually don't get anything there. You do get the ones on the palm rest for a bit, but then they do just go away. So I do like that. If you're sort of fingerprint prone and you really hate having to get fingerprints on items, this is a keyboard that you might want to look into. Just one more thing before we do a close-up. We'll just talk about sort of the strength and the quality of the build. This is a really nice design. I quite like it. It does look really modern. The build is strong, but I guess on having such a large keyboard, it does have a slight little flex to it. It's not going to be as strong as your typical sort of square keyboards. One more thing, I did just check when I was mentioning these cable routing holes. These are for when you're running another, say, USB mouse. You can run it through here, so you can use the extras cable for additional items you run, not for the cable that's been used in it. All right, we'll just have a quick look at the different lighting modes now, and then we'll check out the software. Now this keyboard only comes in blue backlit mode. Being cherry, there's currently no other keyboards at the moment that do RGB. There are more coming out, but just bear in mind if you buy this, it's only going to be stuck at blue. I don't mind blue, most keyboards are these days. We'll just have a quick look at some of the sort of hotkeys that come sort of default with the keyboard. Alright, I'm going to have to turn manual focus off. Alrighty, so what we have is a mute. We have volume down, volume up. Then we have a calculator, a bit of a weird spot for calculator, but I guess they just decided to put it there. We have your play pause, we have your stop, we have your back and forwards for the media functions. We have Windows Explorer or my computer. We have your default web browser, mine was Chrome. And then we have your default backlit mode. So when you hold FN, these are all done by when holding FN down here. We've got just your brightness. So all these controls are the brightness for the backlit. And then to get the advanced options, you can have options like the tracer. When you type a key, it either goes out or it lights up, and then it takes a few seconds to fully light up. You've got other different patterns. I'll install the software now and we'll have a look at that on the screen and see what they represent, and we'll go through the software as well. Then moving across, you just have your sleep mode there, and then that's pretty much it for the hotkeys. So not a whole heap of hotkeys on it, which I kind of like. It's good that they just keep it with the standard keys. We do have our full macro keys there. We'll look at those a little bit later on. The backlight might be flicking a little bit, but that's purely because of the camera. It's just not syncing right on the right hertz, so it does look like it's flickering, but it does that on most of my keyboards I check out, but it's not actually flicking from my view. And we'll just have a look. So this is where your numlock, caps lock show up. So you can see numlock there, just lights up. Alrighty, I'll just chuck the software on and we'll have a look. It's got a whole heap of software that covers the keyboard, which I really like. So I'll go on those and we'll see what sort of features there are. Alright, so once you install the software and you fire it up, this is the first screen you get. So there's a heap of options you can set, and there's a few tabs along the top with even more functions you can set. So it's a little bit confusing to start off with. I highly recommend taking your time and just go through each one. So the main settings along the top for the tabs, we have main control, key assignment, key illumination, ROCCAT RAD, and update and support. So we'll start off with the main control, which is this one here. So you have your configure your caps lock key. So what this does, you can set it to caps lock, disable, but we've got your easy shift. So this allows you to have all your keys can have a secondary function when you do the easy shift. So it literally gives you the keyboard twice. So you can press that and you can have your function and all your keys set to something else. And then we have your ROCCAT talk. This allows it to talk to other devices. So you can have it change, say, another ROCCAT device. Like for me, I've got the mouse plugged in, and you can set things like that. So I won't go into too much like that into those. We'll just cover more sort of to do with this keyboard. Moving down, I do like it how you can configure the FN key. You can set it to the right Windows key if you don't want the FN, because this keyboard doesn't have a right Windows key, or you can set it to the to use it as the FN key as it is labeled on the keyboard. Moving down, we have enable or disable keys. So you have your left Windows key, right Windows key, application key, left shift, and your tab key. So you can just untick those, and then to simply apply a setting, you just go to apply, and then it's literally done. I really like how fast this keyboard is when you change settings and apply it. A lot of problem I have with a lot of keyboards these days is you change a few options and then you hit apply, and then it just sits there with like a sort of scroll indicator that it's doing something, and sometimes you have to wait, whereas literally everything on this keyboard is just instant. That's probably because of the dual processors it has on board. Then we got character repeat. This just pretty much interacts with the Windows options. You can set it to long delay, and you can also test it out there. Key illumination brightness, you can change it 0 to 100%. That's pretty much the same as the function on the keyboard. Then we have this nice little feature, your dimmer timeout, or it's kind of like a screensaver. So just one note, this is independent to your Windows time. So say you're typing on a laptop keyboard and you've got this keyboard plugged in. It's purely a timeout starts from when you stop using the RYOS keyboard. So you can stop using the RYOS keyboard, start using your laptop keyboard, and you're still typing away, but this time will start recording. So say you set it to 1 minute, and you're still using your laptop keyboard, the screensaver will come in on the keyboard while you're using your laptop. So it doesn't really do anything to affect it. All it does is just changes the backlight mode. So you can have after 1 minute no illumination, after say after 1 minute you can have it goes down 60%. It's purely, I guess, if you have it in a bedroom and say you're using your PC, and then say after 20 minutes you want it to sort of illuminate, stay at 100 or go down to 0. And it's also got this other little features for starlit sky. It just changes, it just goes through a random pattern on the keyboard. As you can see with the video I just put up, that's what that one does. And then you've also got one that is fall asleep, so it sort of has like the keys sort of go from the top to the bottom as if it's falling to sleep. And then you've also got your LED macros, so you can set all different LED macros you want in the other tab. Moving down, sound feedback. This is on a few of their latest devices, on their mouse as well. So you can enable these options that once you unlock a trophy or a profile switch, the actual Windows will speak to you in the ROCCAT voice, and you can set the volume here. So it's kind of like the mouse. If you enable it and you change the DPI on the mouse, you'll have the little voice say like 1600 DPI once you move it up and down. So it's a good feature that you can set that on or off. And then you've got a complete driver reset over here. So if you've completely stuffed up your keyboard with all these settings, because everything does get saved on this keyboard, so you could literally uninstall the software but you still have everything on the keyboard. But then if you driver reset, you'll set it all back. And down below we've got an option for up to 5 profile slots here, and then you've got your standard create, load, save and edit your profiles. Alright, moving along to the key assignment. This is probably one of the most advanced keyboards I've ever seen in terms of configuring your keyboard. So if you're a person who needs to configure your keyboard for some reason, change literally every single key you want, this is the keyboard for you. So starting off, it starts off with, you can adjust the M keys, which are the macro keys on the left. You can set the thumbstick keys, which are the three down below near the under the spacebar for your thumb. You can set the easy zone. That must mean easy zone is your sort of your standard keyboard zone. Then moving over, you've got the F keys along there. Then you've also got back to the M keys. Yeah, so that's it. So it's pretty sweet that you can also do the keys along the top as well. And then to simply change them, you just select one you want like that, and it's changed to F3. And you can primary function, assign a timer, profile. You can set it to change profile. You can leave it to the standard, macro, play, pause, assign a shortcut, quick launch and disable. So probably the most amount of features I've ever seen you can set a key for, which is really good. And you can have a secondary function as well, so that's when you hit the FN key, so it still knows that the F keys have a secondary function, and you can do those on it as well, so that's really nice. And then we have a macro manager. I won't go into too much detail here. This is your standard start, record, actually we'll go new. This is your standard I got to create a macro set. So yeah, this is just your standard record your macro. So if you want a macro that's more sort of designed for you and you need to hit a combination of keys, you can do it within here, and then you can set the repeat rate and all that. So it's pretty nice that it's got that. Another main feature of this keyboard is the key illumination. There's a heap of things you can do, and we'll go into those now. So first off, you have your active layer. So you got your normal, which is everything you see on the normal keyboard when you look at it. Then you've got the easy shift. So when you're doing easy shift function, you've got all the colors for the lighting modes for that, sorry. And then you've got FN. When you hit FN, you've got a different color, a different lighting layer for that. So what we have here is the key lighting control. So this is, so you can actually do it for each key you want. Each key you want, you've got any option you want. You can do it blinking, and then I can do apply. And now I have the letter K on the keyboard is just blinking. And we'll just have a quick look at that. So you can see the letter K is blinking. Then I can just click it again and turn that off. So it's got so many advanced modes. A lot of people probably won't need these, but they just thought, what the hell, let's add as many as many sort of features as we can. So we've also got the fade FX. So I'll hit apply on that, and then as you can see, when you type a key, it has the fade like that. So there are a few keyboards out that can do that, but it doesn't. You can also set the fade to that's actually way too long. So you can set a fade for say 3 seconds. So I can go actually that's actually inverted it the other way, so you can actually go 2 ways with the fades, which is good, and then you can see it just fades like that, and then they disappear like that. So that's pretty cool how it does that. And you've also got the ripple effect, which is a really cool, which you can see probably don't really need it as a mandatory sort of effect, but it is really nice that they've done that as well. And then you've got your different type of areas here. So we can say we want WASD done. So you can set this for a profile. Say you want profile 1, just WASD, hit apply, and now you can see WASD is lit. Say you want F keys, M keys, arrow keys, apply, then they're done, those 4 sets. Say you want numpad as well, done. So that's really nice as well. They've given you those quick options. I still don't think there's a keyboard out that allows you to do that. And then you've also got a manual illumination mode, which gives you more individual options for each key, which is really nice. Then we've got our LED macro manager. So like the normal macro manager for keys, you can set macros for LEDs for the light. So that's a really nice feature as well. Moving on to the ROCCAT RAD. This is just sort of a trophy, a stats collector. It just keeps every single thing from once you start the keyboard, and it's got these built-in trophies. I haven't really looked into too much about this. I've done a bit of gaming on it, but it tells you how many average per hour, average per day, how many strokes, what keys I've hit, WASD, everything like that, total keystrokes. It's really nice. It's just kind of like when you're playing a game, it keeps your stats, how many headshots, how many so on. This just keeps stats about the keyboard. So it's a nice little feature there, and you can also reset the stats as well. And then we just have the update and support as well, driver download and online support as well. Alrighty guys, so that's it for this review. It did go for quite a while, but I really did want to cover everything you get with this keyboard and the software features and then the keyboard itself. Now, first thing you're saying is probably the price. Yes, it does cost a lot, but you have to think about it's not going to be for everybody, but if you're after a keyboard that can do all the lighting effects, can do all the macro management, and is sort of an all-round keyboard that is interested in you, people will pay the extra cost for that. Like, you have to think, is there a keyboard out there that can do all the lighting effects that this can do? Is there a keyboard that can do the different layer effects and the different macro layer effects can this do? I believe this is one of the first ones that is also smudge proof and fingerproof. I've been using this for quite a while, and the only thing it sort of collects is dust. That's it. You don't get all the dirty fingerprints on it. It is a really well sort of designed keyboard. It doesn't flex too much, as I said. It just has a little bit of flex, and it's got the really nice rubber feet on the back as well. And then last but not least is it looks good. There's a lot of keyboards out there, well maybe not a lot, but there's some out there that they don't look good, and a lot of people like a keyboard that does look good. So thumbs up for that. They've done a great job in designing this keyboard and jamming as many features in as possible. So I just want to thank ROCCAT for sending me this keyboard to check out, and I think I've got the headset to do later on, the XTD headset, and also their top of line mouse as well. So stay tuned for those, and I want to thank ROCCAT for sending this gear, and stay tuned for more videos in the future.